Coach, how's the lineup and really, I guess, the rotation coming along? As far as what you're seeing, who's playing well with who, how deep you want to go on a nightly basis. How is that progressing from your standpoint?
I don't know if it's progressing. It's moving. We're trying different guys. We're taking a look at different players. Trying to find hopefully a point guard that we can just kind of start to ride with a little bit. And it's a moving target. I wish it was further along than it was, but we've got a lot of guys with a very thin margin between them. And I'd like that to be a little bit more obvious to us, but right now it's still not. And we'll keep chipping away, hopefully, until we can find a really consistent group of guys we got to go with. And at some point, we might have to just cut some guys out, even if they don't deserve it. But again, it's just so early in our trajectory. It's hard for me to just put 4 or 5 of these guys on the bench for good when there's really not a lot of separation between them.
Well, that's what I'm curious. Is there a point in the season, just because we're 5 games into conference play now, is there a point where you just stick to a lineup?
We could do it. I don't know what the repercussions would be, to be quite honest with you. And this is an extremely difficult situation. And if I couple that with you're not going to play, I don't know if I was in their shoes what I would do. So part of it is just to kind of keep people engaged, keep people wanting to be a part of this process and this journey. And me kind of prematurely or early kind of giving up on some guys, I don't know what their commitment level would be. We all want it to be high, but I mean, there's some human nature involved in this situation too.
Paul Weir finished with 18 points, just 5 rebounds. He was only credited with 3 blocks. I know the announcers talked all night. He had at least 2 more, but also altered a lot of shots. I'm curious, Weir's impact on the game tonight, what you took from it, and what you guys might be able to do in 2 days to alter his impact on the game.
Yeah, we tried some different things. Obviously, Hassan Njai was supposed to be a part of the game plan. That was why we signed him, to have a nice big body to go against Cato whenever we kind of got to that point. But unfortunately, without his availability, we're just kind of work around some other guys. We tried to speed the game up as much as we could to avoid just him getting down there and getting our bigs in foul trouble throughout the night. He's an elite player, and he showed it on both ends of the floor. He's a veteran. He's lost some weight. He's moving really well, and he's terrific. So you keep trying different things. Obviously, Anderson came in. He had some good minutes. You try and make other guys kind of beat you. But Cato was excellent tonight.
To follow up on that, and not so much about what Cato did then, how do you think, or who do you think might have actually played him well? I know Byron only had the 1 point, only took 1 shot. Was that out of any sort of intimidation? Was he just not getting shots? Who did well against him?
Yeah, they were double teaming Byron, which is probably a smart move. He's a freshman and, learning the game a little bit. So he struggled a little bit with those doubles, looked a little hesitant at times. And, Valdier's just trying to get some more reps under his belt as well. And really, those are the only 2 options we have. We don't really have anybody else of size that we can throw at him. And again, I think our game plan was more going to be in the first 90 feet of trying to just kind of see if we could speed him up and get him out of rhythm, which we've done in the past and done a pretty good job of. And tonight we just couldn't quite get over the hump in that area on the defensive end, and our offense obviously didn't help us.
Paul, talking about the offense, I think it was 5 field goals in the first half, and the shooting percentage is what it is. Where are they just confidence-wise, wanting to take shots? It doesn't seem like they're reluctant to shoot, but like anybody else, you got to see if you go through.
Yes, and when you play an elite defense like Utah State, it's hard to mimic that in practice. You can watch film, you can talk about what we're looking for, but when you get out there in real live person and their length really bothers us and bothered us. Really, our best offense was our 3-point shooting, and even that, we had a hard time kind of getting clean looks. So I think you got to chalk it up to a terrific defensive team and a very young offensive team that's trying to learn to play together and hopefully find some rhythm and get somebody to take the lead a little bit offensively for us.
Paul, being here has got to wear on you. I mean, I've been here for a day and it's exhausting, but I can't imagine what it's like for a group of young guys to be this far away from home, living out of a hotel without the freedom of moving around. I mean, how much of a where is it on you guys being here?
We were doing great. I really would say we were doing great. A couple nights ago, I had to inform them that we were not going back to Albuquerque after Friday's game, and I'd be lying if I said it's been a very difficult couple of days. So it is. Does that mean that we're not still trying as hard as we can at practice or as hard as we can we get together? But for the first time, I'd say since this started, the last few days have probably not gone the way the previous 45 had gone. And we've got to find a way to pick ourselves up off the mat and work through this situation as best we can. There's no alternative right now. So it has been challenging. And the last 2 days have been, I think, the first times that if any player or any coach sat down with you and was honest with you, they'd say, we've hit a wall here. So we've got to figure out a way to fight through it and get up off the mat and keep pushing forward.
Since you talked about the point guards earlier, I wanted to do one follow-up, and that's Jeremiah. He, for the first time, didn't start, and he responded by, coming in, and he hit a three early on, which for him, I know he hasn't hit many this year. So he actually probably had one of his better games with 8 points, just 3 of 5 shots. I know he had the 2 turnovers, but 2 assists. Like he's a guy that in 18 minutes didn't do a whole lot, but I don't know that he's a guy you're looking for to do a whole lot. Is tonight an 8-point game kind of what you want out of him? And I'm curious if he's a guy that might start again because of your kind of uncertainty at that position.
Yeah, it's a start for sure for him. So I'm really happy for him that he did get some things kind of going for himself offensively. I think it was the defensive end that he struggled tonight. It's Utah State's such a big team, and we've got great size. But Jeremiah just kind of struggled a little bit trying to keep up with their size out there on the defensive end. But I thought offensively, you're right. He was much better, and hopefully he'll continue to grow and be able to maybe at some point provide us what we need at that position.
Anything else for Coach?
Yeah, Paul, with the point guard play, are you getting looks that you want in the offense and the shots just aren't going down, or do you need to create better looks?
We probably need to try and create better looks. It's challenging with some because we don't have a ton of shooting at times on the floor, so we can get some lineups out there that don't space the floor very well. And then we have some lineups that do. So we've just got to get a little bit more creative, particularly when we don't have a lot of shooters on the floor. And that's what our defense is supposed to be. And we just couldn't quite, we sped them up, but we just really couldn't quite get our defense to create more for our offense tonight. That was probably the most disappointing thing. For them to lead us in points off turnovers, we're not beating Utah State. That has to be a very wide margin in our favor. And we got to get more out of our defense.
What was it tonight ultimately, Coach? I mean, you talked a lot about defense so far this year, but just that allowed Utah State to pull away before halftime the way that they did.
Yeah, we didn't practice well the last few days. We just haven't. And we've talked about it and just kind of keep supporting them and hugging them and loving them and everything else. But right now we did not practice well going into this game. So it's going to be hard to beat a team of this caliber if you're not putting together really high-level practices. And they were really two of our poorer practices since we began this thing. And we've got to find a way to get out of this, break through where we're at right now and practice better in order to play better.